I have 6 o'clock.
library. So
Calling the meeting to order. Thank you everybody for coming. First, we'll do department and committees. Fire rescue.
Nothing's changed. People are still having medical issues daily. Nothing big has burned.
That's a good thing.
It's call volume's pretty much what it was last year. We'll get closer to the end. So, no big changes.
Any word on the fire truck?
The new fire truck is closer to being put in service. We kept prices for lettering decided on the vendors based on low price. That should get done in the next week or so. Probably go into service in 2 weeks. The booster pump for the Cascade system won't be in yet though. We'll be using it. We'll be filling air bottles, the old one, until probably November when that.
Anybody from the board? Anybody from the public have anything for fire rescue?
I guess it's how long are you staying?
Do you need?
Well, no, we have an update that you might be interested in, but we'll usually do that during our selectmen's updates, so. Okay, I didn't know, okay.
I wouldn't until you told me that, but I know.
Or we can do
Need
it
me
now.
to?
You want to do it now so we don't have to wait?
The ambulance committee got together last Monday.
Right.
Do you wanna take it from there?
Yeah, go right for it.
Well, we all got over there. We thought we were narrowing down, and we're not. We're meeting again next Monday to have all 4 companies do a presentation. Then maybe we'll narrow it down. So I just wanted the fire
Yeah.
department to be aware that,
And because Matt Bowman and Zach went.
yeah, they were there. I just didn't know if you had relayed that
Still in the office doing work when they got back. I was
Okay.
there when they left for it, and I was there when they got back, so they gave me that update. Okay.
So nothing new.
Thank you.
Economic development,
Did you get hold of him? Because she's away.
you're up.
No, I didn't.
Oh, can I do one more thing?
Oh, sorry.
When I stopped at the building today, the red light was on. Has anybody been there?
I just shut it off.
Thank you. Didn't know what it was.
That's, what?
What does it indicate?
It's a freeze alarm.
Okay.
There are 2 things that can set it up. If this temperature in the main bay goes below a certain point, or the temperature in the boiler goes a certain point. So this time of year, the boiler's not even on.
Right.
But the ambient temperature in the boiler room get below that threshold, apparently.
Okay, so it's
And it
a,
happened after 5:30 this morning, because I was there at 5:30, that's when I left. And it was
Yeah.
not on then, but my wife called me later and said,
yeah,
Well, I had seen it around 9, and I called him because I didn't know who to get hold of, so,
I
okay.
did have Rich's cell phone, and I just left a message, figured
he's on vacation
It
this
wouldn't
week
be a-
anyway.
it was a major thing.
The lights shut off now, we don't have to
Perfect.
turn the boiler on.
Thank
We'll
you.
just get hold of you if we see it.
Now, economic development.
Sorry.
That used to be in second.
I know.
Okay, economic development met last week, and we spent most of the meeting dealing with plans for next year and figuring out exactly what we want to do most of all. I'm not gonna talk a lot about broadband because Becky's going to, but I went yesterday to the meeting that was the county one. And I'm pleased to say that Jeff Bradley has said he'd be on the committee, which is great for that committee, I think. And there are, like, I think, all but 3 Carroll County towns are part of it, which is great too. And last week I went to the Lake Sturgeon Planning Commission and got some further discussion going about what is happening with the mapping that we did. And it's still in this federal committee and that federal, and they're talking to the providers, and their providers are saying, oh no, not us, and it's just all going on. It's sort of like a cluster thing, So anyway, there's nothing special to tell you, but everything seems to be going along fine.
That's it?
That's it.
Perfect. Any questions for economic development? Public, have anything for economic development? Thank you. Friends of the Townhouse.
All right. We got approved for the grant through the Tamworth Foundation.
Sweet.
Very excited for that. The library has moved into the townhouse while their building's getting worked on. That went smoothly. They're really happy with the space, and they're open tomorrow. If anyone wants to stop in, they have a little sign out front that says the hours when they're open.
Looks nice, I was there yesterday.
Yeah, and they'll be there until Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of. They're Wednesdays and maybe, but definitely there till Tuesday.
Very nice.
And that's all.
Anything for Friends of the Townhouse? When do you think that the construction will start? Are you gonna put out bids now for?
Not sure yet.
We have bid for it.
Oh, you do?
Yep. And now
Gonna get us on the calendar.
we just gotta get on the calendar for somebody to get it done.
Yeah, good luck.
I know.
Public have anything for? All right, moving right along here then. The Tamworth Recycling Project.
Well, Maureen Diamond and I are here, and we have just one quick handout, and this is just, we've been working, I didn't know if you wanted a copy. The glass and tin recycling seem to be going really well. I stopped over yesterday and talked to Glenn. He's a little disappointed that that we haven't had, we haven't filled the container for the steel and metal cans yet. But we're hoping, I just wrote down the same thing on both the glass and the tin, that we're gonna continue to publicize it. Okay, great. Just let people know via the Tamworth Exchange and the paper, and also on the Tamworth Recycling Project Facebook account, that recycling is alive and well, and that anytime you get a chance to recycle your steel cans and glass, you're saving the town a little money. So that's all with that. We would like to again stress the importance of signage. Even though Glenn has some signs, I think it really would help us have clean bottles if we had bigger, more specific signs up there. So we have a member in our group who would like to make them, and I guess we're asking permission if that's all right with you. We would just like to put some pictorial signs up that stress cleaning glass.
Okay with me, is everybody on the board okay with that?
Yeah.
Go
Free
for
sign's
it.
a good sign.
Yeah.
Has there been an issue with them not clean? Because Glenn has not said anything.
No, I don't think it's a giant thing, but now and then, yeah. And any time it's contaminated, it's a pain. They've got to go through and pick it out. So they feel like they're still monitoring it. So we just thought that would be a small way we could help, is to get a really clear sign. We have a big one down there that the sandwich board, that Willie's reminded us that we have to take down for plowing, but we'll put one up in the spring that's probably comparable in size. So that's it with the glass and steel, unless you thought of something. No. And I think it would be a real benefit for us to get a Planet Aid box, and I gave you just a little website you can go to. This would be a place where people could recycle their clothing, rags, cloth, boots, shoes. And again, it takes the refuse out of the mainstream, you know. So it would save the town a little money, free of charge. Glenn had some reservations because they had used Planet Aid years and years ago, but since then the company's reformed, and when we went to visit the other transfer station in Tuftonboro, they have a Planet Aid box, and he said they've had no problems at all. You can call, and 24 hours they're guaranteed to come and pick it up.
They provide the container.
They provide the container.
Do they
Sounds like
still
a
give the
no-brainer.
towns money?
I
They
don't
used to get a percentage in
I
Tuftonboro.
did not see that, Darlene,
Okay.
but that would be, is that a different
No,
organization?
it was Planet
Did
Aid.
you read this?
No, I haven't read it at all.
I
It
don't
says
think,
right on the bottom,
Yeah,
Your
and earned
religious-
revenue. Yeah.
religious institution, school, municipality can earn revenue.
Oh,
It's a
hosting
it was a
events.
percentage, maybe
Good,
a quarter of a
good. I
cent
didn't even
or,
notice
you know, a
that.
penny
That
or
is
something. It
exactly-
wasn't a lot, and it was, you know, per pound.
Anything comes out of the waste stream, we don't have to pay
But we
to get
can-
rid of.
And
Liz
I-
will say
We can find out.
So we just wanted to make sure that was all right with you. I've talked to Glenn. Glenn feels like it's a fine idea as long as it doesn't become a problem. Again, if it does, it can be removed. So it seems worth trying and we're
I
just
say go
looking
for
for
it.
your
I wanna end it
approval.
right now, I make a motion that we call Planet Aid and have them deliver a box to the transfer station.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And just interestingly, Glenn was part of the delegation at the Tufton Borough Station when we discussed this, and that they're having a very good
Ellen, are we gonna make
experience.
this happen, or is your committee gonna make it happen?
It's,
I
it's,
think the town should.
it's probably easier if it goes through
Yeah.
Glenn or you all.
Yeah, I
There you
think, I think
Um,
we should do
But
it.
we could do that also. Just let us know. We'll.
No, we'll do
No,
it.
I think because if they say municipalities will
I'll
get
do
some
it.
back, it keeps it clean.
I'll do it.
That's awesome, thank you, thanks. And we'll check in with Glenn periodically and make sure that it's working out okay for him. Yeah, kind of hemmed and hawed about where it would go, but they said on their website that they'll come help you and determine the site. And then the last thing we had was really just a question. We wanted first of all to know, and maybe this is a Glenn question, if you have in your records that you could give us any comparisons, figures on financial monies that we've saved this year through recycling. We thought it would be a great thing to just continue to rev up the public if we could say we've saved so many dollars. So I don't know if that comes from Glenn's report or if that's something that you all would have. So it's a question about how we would access that kind of financial
I would say
information.
call Kathy, or you can have Kathy reach out to you.
That's
And
super.
you can speak with her about what kind of report she could print for you.
That would be super.
Okay.
And then the very last thing we had was just a question. This has not happened to us. We don't have anybody offering to donate us money, and we have no money in the group. But if we were to have the school kids hold a bake sale for our recycling group to use, to raise funds that we could use towards recycling, we had a question about how we would set that up. Is that something we could go through the town?
Depends on where you're gonna hold it.
Yeah.
If you're holding it at the transfer station.
But this is a private group.
Yeah, this is private,
Yeah,
they're
but
gonna have to
the
establish a
boys-
501.
But the Boy Scouts let us know if they're going to be selling down at the
Yeah,
transfer.
but she's talking about the money
I-
going to them.
Oh,
Right.
right.
What do we
This
do
is
with
a
them?
private, this is a private
I don't
organization.
think the town should hold their funds.
No.
No,
No.
Okay.
So not a town
So we
organization.
have to figure this out on our own?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it muddies the
Did you
water
have
way
further
too much.
questions?
Yeah, you're not a town committee.
Was there an example of someone who was doing something similar that someone spoke of last night? I can't remember.
If so, I
Yeah,
can't remember
yeah,
either,
yeah.
but, okay, we'll take that back.
You start getting into the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, but, if
two
we,
bake sales later.
if we
right?
decide to apply for a grant for something specific, it's been talked about, discussed that maybe it would be a benefit to have a baler at the transfer station. I guess we would come back and talk to you about that.
That would be something that probably would go through the town as a grant for equipment, sizable equipment, but for.
Another possible project would be doing something similar to what Tamworth, or Sandwich did, where they hired a shredder who came to the
Oh,
town,
that was
and
the
that
other one.
cost $1,000 for the day, I believe. The possibility that we could share that with Sandwich next year and pay part of the cost here in Tamworth and part of the cost there. That might be a little cleaner than buying equipment for the money to come from a group like this. I think that's what we were,
So
that's
if we
another
could
example.
find somebody that would underwrite that, that was our question, is whether we should go through you or just hold on to it ourselves.
Well, I think that maybe in the budget process, if you could go through in the budget process and say, we anticipate that we'd like to be able to do this provided we get a grant for it. So you'd put it in the budget at $500 because it's gonna be matched with another town, 500. And then you go out and get a grant for it, then the money would come through the town, be paid out through the town for that. But other than that, I think it's, so it would have to be appropriation by the people as well. They'd have to agree to do that.
Wouldn't it be just like what we did for the townhouse?
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking, it's the exact same thing as the townhouse.
Right.
so. We can,
We wrote the grant, the selectmen approved it, you know, it was actually, we wrote it for the selectmen to approve to put the grant in. We can't do it because we're just a private group. And
Okay,
then
that's very
the
helpful.
town was awarded the money.
So maybe we'll talk to you all if something
Yep.
like that happens.
Yep.
And thanks, that's great, very helpful, thank you very much.
Anything else, Ellen?
No, that's it, that's all.
Thank you
we
very
got.
much. New England Solar Garden. I guess we got Andrew?
Yes, how are you?
I'm great, thank you for coming.
All right.
Please have a
So we're
seat.
still here? Mike's with me as well?
You're in the front row.
Oh, you slide in there, all right. So thank you to the board for having us. Thank you, Tony, for kind of setting this up, appreciate it. So yeah, my name is Andrew Keller, I'm from New England Solar Garden. We're a Portsmouth, New Hampshire-based solar development company. And I have with me Mike DiGregorio, who also works with us as kind of our local land and development partner on the project, who is from Conway. So what we wanted to speak with the board this evening about is we have been working with a couple of different landowners in your community to look to do some community solar projects. One of the cluster of parcels is along the transmission right-of-way, Eversource's right-of-way that goes down to the substation. And then the other one is directly next door to the actual substation itself. That's a much smaller parcel of land. What we've been doing over the last year, almost, just shy of a year, is going through the process of our homework, our due diligence on what we can do based on current rules that New Hampshire has for doing these type of community solar projects. There's been an iteration of hopefully allowing the project to grow in size. Unfortunately, yesterday, the governor vetoed, or the legislature sustained the governor's veto, among many others, to allow us to do larger projects, to allow us to do more for our towns, our municipalities, our schools. We do a lot of municipal work. One of our specialties is dealing with landfills. So if the town has a landfill, we'll take it, we'll put solar panels on it, create a source of revenue for the town in the form of a lease. And the reason we're here tonight, also a potential pilot or a payment in lieu of tax agreement, and also providing a discount off of electric bills for the community. That's our specialty. We did the first in the state down in Milton. It was the largest solar project up until just recently, but it was the first municipal landfill project we did as well. So we were able to save that community about $20,000 a year on their $30,000 a year electric bill by way of using that as a tool. So that's kind of what we do. Again, there's been a lot of changes in our state, and we call it the solar coaster for a reason. It's always changing. It's going up and down on us. So yesterday was a little bit of a down for us. So we're here in front of your board, looking still to proceed with these projects under the current law, which allows us to do one project. We consider it a megawatt, which is about 5 or 6 acres of land per parcel of land. So that's how we're moving forward with these projects. As of today, kind of a new day, and we're figuring out how to readjust our projects with the survey work that we were doing or getting ready to do. One of the critical items in our homework is to find out if a town is willing to enter into a pilot, a payment in lieu of tax agreement. There is state statute that the towns can lean on for renewable energy projects that you may be familiar with. We've done many of these agreements with towns all across New Hampshire. So we're not here as your first town to ever see this or deal with this. We've had many municipal attorneys review this agreement. And we were just looking to get kind of the read from the board if there was a willingness to move forward to allow your town attorney to review it, see if it's okay, bring it back to the board for questions, comments, approval preferably. That way we know we have that piece of the equation figured out. The rest goes through your normal process at the town level. We also have to go through a pretty challenging state process with the alteration of terrain and DES department to make sure all the stormwater is done properly, there's no issues with abutters. But we've tried our best to find the best locations for these projects that are more industrial in nature, and we feel that these couple of sites are good for that. So before we went too much further along and started spending tens of thousands of dollars in survey work and other work, we just wanted to come and introduce the project to the board, get some questions answered and understand if there's any concerns that we can deal with, and then see if there's an opportunity to move to the next level with the pilot discussion. So I think that gives kind of an overview. I'm happy to answer any specific questions or just general questions. So yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
I looked a little bit into it,
Okay.
and I love this idea of doing this, and I'm very disappointed that the governor's veto
Yes, us as well.
was held.
Yes.
And in that question, so you're saying each parcel can't have more than 1 megawatt
That's
on
correct.
it at this point?
At
It
this
can't
point, correct.
aggregate up to 5 megawatts or
Yeah.
anything, you gotta stay with 1
You got that is
per
correct.
parcel.
Yep. The Eversource has defined a premise, there's no language in the law that states it has to be a parcel, but Eversource in their infinite wisdom has decided to define a premises as a parcel of land in their technical guidelines. So there's nothing in the law that says it has to be, but the Public Utility Commission has followed Eversource's.
Because I noticed some of those were same owner, so I didn't know if that was gonna be an issue or not.
No,
Where it's a separate tax card, separate
Yep.
lot,
And-
separate lot of record.
And you're not able to, again, a rule that has been established by Eversource, not by statute or by the PUC, is that they don't want any projects subdivided within the last 3 years. Again, they're telling us as landowners what we can do with our land. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's just the rule book we have to play with right now.
And I guess I realize that a lot of these parcels that you're talking about are presently in current use.
Correct.
So obviously, your use is not a current use.
Nope, it's not.
Category, so those parcels, that section of the land that you're
Correct.
going to use,
Will come out.
roadway,
Yep.
wiring, and the field, would
Yep.
have to come out of current use.
Yep, that would be additional revenue to the town.
And so, does that make the landowner responsible, or you responsible for the increase in tax levied on each parcel?
Yes, so we will, the way that our leases are written is that any additional tax liability to the landowner is borne by the project. If
Okay.
that is in the appraised value, which is handled by the pilot, if there's a current use, change of use issue, if there's an increased tax on the land, again, that's new tax revenue to the town, but it's not a liability to the landowner necessarily.
Okay. Those were a couple of my real, I mean, that's you get into current use, taking it out of
Yes.
current use is a penalty.
Yeah, we're very familiar with that.
And I'm sure you probably know.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think it's great, I mean, I did some rough numbers, and if you could have gone maxed out, the town would have
Would've been
recognized in your pilot
Yeah,
about $70,000.
Sure
Which
would
would have been very nice.
it's nice for a small town,
Well, yeah.
any town, but a small, smaller
Right,
town, that's a
I
lot
mean,
of
and we
revenue.
also have the issue of Pine Tree Power being in this town,
Yeah.
which, with the sustained,
Mm-hmm,
or the vetoes that he has done.
yes, other issues too.
May also impact us heavily. So about how far out do you think this would be if chips all fell together? When would we be looking at the possibility of, if we agreed to the pilot, when would the project actually unfold and come on the ground?
Yeah, our focus right now would, realistically, I would say a year
A year.
from now.
Yeah.
We would like to try to get some guidance from your board and the town, so we can have the surveyors get out there and do the survey work before the snow flies. That's our critical path item right now, get the wetlands done, we can, take care of topo and other survey and boundary once the leaves are down, which makes sense. But if we miss that window for wetlands, we're waiting till next spring to start the whole process all over again. So it would be our intention to get all that done this fall, get the utility applications. We've started the process, there's like a 2-step process we go, possibly 3, but mostly a 2-step process we go through. We've already started the first to get the initial information, and then we will go through the formal application and permitting process with the utility, which takes, that's, when I say a year, that's the unknown. It usually takes about 6 months to get through that process. Sometimes they take a little longer. So we would use the winter months and this early spring to go through any town and or state approval processes while we're waiting for the utility to finish up their review to find out what it's gonna cost to physically connect to those lines.
I guess another question I have is, I haven't delved real deep into the RSA on the pilot, but if we weren't to do a pilot, do you know if we could be taxing you at the actual value of the solar array?
Yeah, so there's 3 different choices, 3 different options for towns that we've worked with, and I can provide examples to Darlene if we need to, or to the board, whenever you'd like, on different methodologies of doing this. And we found this is all New Hampshire specific that I'm speaking to, and it's all been passed kind of through the Department of Revenue Association, DRA's kind of oversight, I guess you could say. Obviously, the pilot is a pilot. You have, as the board, the right to have a public meeting on it.
I think we have to.
Yeah, you do, definitely. And then enter into that agreement. We typically look for a pilot that follows the length of the program. You know, the solar program is till 2040, it's roughly a 20-year program, which is why we ask for a 20-year pilot agreement, because it has to follow the financials mechanism that allows the project to work. That's one item.
Right.
We have come across a couple of communities where, for whatever reason, because I know towns can do other pilots with other reasons unrelated to energy. It could be a pilot for leasing land to do a golf course or something. That it didn't go as well as they planned. I've heard a couple different examples of why it didn't go well for the town. The board didn't feel comfortable with it. So what we've moved to is a methodology of taxation that the DRA is comfortable with. So there's two. There's a cap rate on the land lease value, or there's going to be utilizing the building permit cost basis for what the cost of the structure is going to be as the basis for additional assessed value of the property. And then that just follows your mill rate. And we take the risk that will change. Respectfully, you're not in the business of raising your taxes anytime you can absolutely preserve not doing that. So that's a risk we can take, following whatever your rates are going to be in the future. But we work with your assessor, provide that information. It doesn't, from my understanding and from other towns we've done this, it doesn't have to come back to your board. It can be done through your assessing process, however that works in your community. And then from there, we have what we need to know that our tax component to our projects, there's a known factor. It's the unknown that scares
Right.
people away.
Right, absolutely. I mean, you're gonna make an investment in
Yes.
something, and you gotta know
Correct.
that you're not gonna get pinned
Yes.
2 years down the road.
And honestly, be quite honest with you, we've had some communities, I should say one community, that just felt like, no, we're gonna tax you every dollar that you spend on this project. And we said, well, unfortunately, we can't do a solar project because we're not a cell tower. We don't have the revenue that supports a higher tax burden. We're not looking for a handout, but we're not also putting children in school. We're not putting a burden on your system. It's almost like it's like a net profit, you know, it's not gross. There's no other minimal expenses associated with us putting a solar array in the back 40 of somebody's property.
If you don't mind me asking, about what is the cost to put a 1 megawatt field up?
Right around $2 million. Yeah. So you can see why we have to do our homework before we go too far down the path.
Right, well, no, but I'm just trying to
Yeah.
balance out, because if we
Absolutely.
were to tax you at
Yeah, there
$2
would,
million, you probably
there'd
go,
be no
well,
solar
we're gonna go
project."
somewhere else.
Yeah.
It isn't gonna work, but we also have this land in current use, and we're trying to get as much tax revenue into the
Absolutely.
community as we can.
You got it.
And solar panels are less expensive to police,
Mhm.
fire, rescue,
Yes.
education, all of those things, and roads and infrastructure,
Yeah.
than
We're actually,
houses.
we're actually completing kind of another community asked us to do this task, which may be valuable for you guys to just have some supporting data, is to look at like an analysis of a pilot revenue versus what it would take in number of new homes built. Like how many homes would you have to build? How much value would that bring to this town? And then what does that net out after you put a child or two into a school? I think anybody in this room, based on your reaction, know what those numbers look like, but we're gonna do an analysis so people can just see, okay, well, this is the equivalent of like us bringing in, 30 new building permits a year for a typical $150,000, $200,000 home, or whatever that math is.
Right. I mean, if you do develop that, we'd be interested
Yeah.
in seeing it just as more knowledge
You got
and information, so
Happy to share.
I would be glad to read it
Okay.
if you ever get it done.
Yeah, no, it's
Share.
actually high priority for this community, so it will.
Yeah,
I will.
okay.
Can you just give me the location again?
Sure. So, if you are at the big substation, right on Maple Road,
Okay,
directly, if you're looking at the substation, the land directly to the left is there's a smaller, like narrower
Yes,
field.
yes, yes.
That will be almost a megawatt we can fit in there, depending on how it
Okay.
lays out. And then if you were to follow that transmission line back up the line, about 1.5 miles up west, I think I said northwest, I
yeah,
guess,
yeah,
direction.
yeah.
It's up there. There's about 6 parcels of land that are up, I think it's a total of 600 acres that the 1,000 that the landowner
Yeah.
owns.
Yeah,
That's right on the transmission line. It
Yep.
has frontage on Turkey Hill.
okay, that's all I was.
Yeah.
Andrew, what are you looking for from us for tonight?
This evening, I guess I would like to ask your permission to have the town attorney review the document. So that way, if we come back together at your next meeting, you have some guidance that says, I've reviewed it, I've talked to some other municipal attorneys or other towns, and I'm happy to give references on those towns, to feel as though that you've done as much homework as you can do. You have your attorney to kind of sign off on that, and then we can come back and ask for you to go and have a public meeting on it to meet the RSA requirements, and then hopefully enter into the actual agreement.
I'm good with that.
I think
I have no problem.
Adam? Okay, I'll make a motion that we provide the paperwork to the attorney, let him review it.
Second.
All in favor?
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you, board, to the board. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's
Sounds
a short
like a
document.
great
It's only a
plan.
few pages. It's not like a long, in-depth thing.
Says
I have it.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So it's not a burdensome agreement, I don't think, for anybody to review.
Sounds like a win-win situation.
Dan, before we take off, someone just told me about the cap landfill over on Durham.
Deep.
Durrell.
Durrell.
Railroad.
How
How
come you
large it
guys,
is. That's,
it's, what's that?
I don't know what the size of that lot
14
is.
acres.
I was gonna say,
What?
yeah, it is.
14
it's-
acres.
You only need about 6 or 7
So-
per megawatt.
But
So,
I think some of it's pretty steep down the back.
Okay. Would you like us to take a look at it?
We certainly could look at it.
Sure.
I mean, we're happy to do a little homework and just.
Because I know
say-
Oh, absolutely.
I know
Okay, let me
there's
ask you, because it's got that membrane over it,
Membrane.
how far do you have
We don't
to,
do
you won't?
anything to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It sits on top.
Right on top.
Yeah.
I
So I
think it
know
would be
that-
great.
You guys were, there was some talk about, I don't know if you were doing something with Madison, because Madison's been talking about solar, and there was some committee that was going on, and those folks told me that, that's why I never reached out to you before, but,
Well, we met at over at Tin Mountain,
We
we were
did,
talking
yeah.
solar thing there, and there was several people in town that have been trying to figure out how to do something
Right.
community-wise solar to,
but if you'd like to take a look at that.
That's a great location, that would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
And honestly, you know, using up a brownfield like that is a great place for it. So
Oh, God, yeah.
if you'd like us to look
we
at
don't
it,
have to dig it up.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, our chair said,
I'll, are you the chair?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just reach out to you when I get some information.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely, check it out.
No
Yeah,
problem.
That would be wonderful.
And
One of my
at the
business
same
cards has a
time, then
picture
I can
of
send to the
Milton.
rest of the board.
We'll do a preliminary thing of it and,
So I
Do
know
something
you
else.
did something in Laconia, and you said
We
you
are.
did something in Milton?
Yeah, so we have landfills, built landfills, we have, Milton is built, been up for I think almost 3+ years now. Hillsborough Hillsborough and Milton were approved almost one day apart. Milton was built first physically. Then Laconia, we have, we're in the final stages of approval on that one. That was unfortunately slated to be 4 megawatts. We'll see how that shakes out based on what the utility says on the cost to connect. If we can still justify the cost, it might be tough. So, and then we are also finished permitting on 2 landfills in Farmington, one on a private landfill and one on the town landfill. And we are starting the process in Winchester for their landfill. And we are working with the state on their Superfund sites. We have a couple Superfund sites that are some are owned by the state that we're working with, and we have some that are been taken for taxes, with like Epping, for example, working with their Superfund site. So we have a kind of specialty in finding those useless pieces of land that are a liability to you guys and see if we can figure out some revenue for you.
what's the amount of acreage you need to do the one
Typically on a landfill, about 5 to 6 acres,
on a regular?
and probably 6 to 7 on a regular piece of land. Just because we have to set back from trees.
Perfect.
So, yeah, so again, thank you guys so much.
Great.
for
Yeah, that'd be
the
great.
questions, and we'll circle back.
Thank you.
For doing
Thank
it.
you.
Great.
Thanks for coming in.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Mike DeGregorio.
Mike, you still on the school board?
Thank you.
I am not on the school, but I'm currently commissioner of the fire department
Right.
And you.
in Conway.
Good seeing you, man.
Yeah, good seeing you. Good luck with that ambulance contract.
Alrighty, moving along. New business. MS 434, the estimated revenue.
Okay, I couldn't find mine from last year, but I'm sure you can, it's not a big question. It really isn't. And I've got all the paperwork, so if you need my paperwork, you can have it too.
I think I brought mine.
On the last page, I'm confused. I'm sure it's just my confusion. It says voted from fund balance, that I understand.
Wait, what form do you have? MS 434?
Yep,
Okay.
the very last page, it says voted from
Yep.
fund balance.
Yep.
That money comes out of, what is that consistent of? Because we had the
I-
150,
That I don't have that in front of me, but
you need these?
was that from last year?
No, this is this year's.
No. I need last year's, and I don't
Okay,
have
okay.
that. So once I will let you know what that is.
And
I don't remember what that was.
the only
made
two
up of.
questions I had is that one, and then down below where it says fund balance retained, it's a negative 376. Because we did retain fund balance,
Yep.
and I don't think we're in the negative, because if we
No, we're
did,
not.
I wanna know immediately.
No, we're not. No, we talked about fund balance. It's like 1 point something.
Yeah, so that's the only two
Yeah.
things that threw me.
So I will find out that answer for you.
Because I knew part of it was the 150, and I tried to
Yes,
add
and
the
I-
180 something for the fire truck, which is I thought, but
I've
I
got it
wasn't
written
sure.
down. I just off the top of my head, I don't know
Not a
exactly what it's
biggie,
made
that
up
was
of.
my only question.
Okay.
I'm good.
Anybody else got any questions on
Did that state what our overlay, what we plan for overlay for
No,
this
this
year?
is just revenues.
Okay.
No,
Right,
that's
this
gonna
is
be
the
done
revenue.
later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
at the moment.
Discuss department heads attending the meetings. Where'd this come from?
We got so much accomplished last meeting because we didn't have, I understand that you want them here, but do we really have to bring them in every, I mean,
I've
look at
talked to a lot
tonight.
of them, and half of them don't even want to be here.
Right, and
Wow.
like tonight, we didn't,
They don't
we're
want to.
not, 20 minutes into our meeting because we're listening to somebody say, yeah, the roads are all up to date or something like that. I mean, people can contact us if they have an issue and we can bring the department head in, schedule the complaints. I don't know, I just think it's taking up a lot of their time and a lot of our time.
I mean, would once a
And
month
a lot of
be
payroll time.
appropriate?
Yeah, I'll have them stagger, so they all get in here
Like
once a
Glenn told
month,
me,
but.
if I want to come see you, I'll get put on the agenda. Other than that, trash flows.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comment.
Or
That
if
was
we
not-
want
that's
to
why-
talk to them about something,
Bring them in.
we can ask Darlene to.
Just budget's coming out.
We got budget coming up, it just
I'll
seems.
be in for that.
Well, yeah, but
So,
The beginning of, maybe if they
Well, we don't
came
need
in
it.
once a month, if there was this, because the stats from the police department, from the fire department,
Like
if
on
there's
our
any
short-
questions.
Have those two come in the first meeting of the month, and then the other 3 departments come the second meeting of the month, and that will be that way all the time. You could try that.
Something that would be.
yeah.
That's an idea.
You could try that.
That's why I came up. And no offense to payroll, not everybody is salaried that comes in as a department head. They're on an hourly wage and I feel bad for them. We're keeping them here and,
What do you think?
Is it
Dan?
worth a try?
Why even bother than having them come in?
well, I think, again,
I mean, they work for us. That's the only time that we get to see the employees that work for us.
yeah,
If a person has a question for them, they're gonna ask a question and say, okay, I have to get back to you. So now you're waiting another month before they could answer that question, which is already OBE, overcome by events. So these individuals, if anything, you would think that they'd want to be here to have FaceTime, to get on that camera, to say, this is what I've been doing in my department, because it's not only the group of people that are sitting here, there's 2,000 plus people that review this tape, that are looking at, me as a department head, I came every damn time for 16 years. The reason why I did it was because I wanted the people to know what was going on out there, what I was doing. I wanted them to see my face. If I couldn't work my schedule around coming to see my bosses twice a month, shame on me. That's the way I look at it. But obviously,
well, it's just we're going into budget season and stuff and.
but they don't come to our work sessions. They come twice a month. So last, I don't know why they were here at the work session.
They
They
weren't,
they weren't.
They
Okay,
weren't.
They
so,
weren't.
but the meeting before they were, well,
and if you notice, they all don't come because
I noticed mine
some of them,
many of them don't come.
some of them have,
2 of them called and said they weren't gonna.
yes, but between vacation and other commitments, they don't come all the time. So if you have them come once a month and they have a commitment for that one time when they're on vacation, now you've gone 2 months without seeing
Well, then I would
a
put them,
department
I
head.
would move them
Well,
if
I
they
mean,
weren't
one-
gonna
we
be
need to see
here.
it once a month,
Right.
not
That's
every
what-
2 weeks, once a month. I mean, I'm just,
I mean, it's up to you guys. I'm not voted here. It's obviously
And
you guys,
well,
but
no, I'm
and
just,
truly,
I'm
if there's
trying to
a-
make it run smoother, that's all.
If,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
somebody
it's-
from the public has a question, I can get the answer the next day and let them know what the answer is.
it shouldn't be
you know,
your
just-
job
Well,
answering questions for a department head.
or they could I could let them know and they could contact that person. You know, it's not that I would have to do that, but.
You know what? As a department head, I would wanna be here. I wouldn't want not to be here. Because I would be concerned if somebody in the audience, somebody that showed up, had a concern or a question, and I wasn't here. Shame on me. But,
So how does it stand now, that they're supposed to come?
yes,
Well,
providing that that they're not committed to doing something else. It's part of your job, that you go before your boss. If your boss says, be here, I wanna see you, it's not like that we get to supervise them or see them on a daily basis. You see them twice a month, if you're lucky.
well, I guess that's the point. We're not seeing them twice a month. We're seeing just a certain number of them twice a month. So either we enforce it and they rearrange their schedules other than vacation, that they're here, or they're not.
I mean, there are gonna be times where you can't be here, that's
Right.
obvious.
Stuff comes up,
Yeah, something comes up and that's understandable.
but you should be able to.
But you
book
should
it.
be able to book it saying, okay, I know that Thursday, we don't change them like it's gonna be the
Tuesday.
Tuesday to next week. It's every other Thursday is a selectmen's meeting.
Well, then we need to enforce that because we have many department heads. I mean, there are 2 or 3 that faithfully show up and there are many others that don't. So if that's the case, I can go with the every other meeting, but then we need to enforce it across the board and they need to know that they're expected to be here. But we're going into budget season. Could we just back it off to once a month during budget season? Because we're gonna be having a lot more meetings and we're gonna
Well,
be
we'll
calling
be
them
meeting with
in.
them.
We're gonna be calling them in to meet with them on additionally, so can we go through budget season, when we start budget season, backing it off to
Try
once
it.
a month?
I think that a few years ago, maybe not even a few years ago, the general consensus of the people in town were that they wanted people to come every meeting. And so that's when it went to people, to department heads coming, because people wanted to see those department heads. So I don't think asking them to come twice a month is asking them too much. And I know you're going to budget season, but that's why you get paid the big bucks, John.
But you know, you're limited. We don't
really-
have to ask them a ton of questions. What has been going on? What you been doing for 2 weeks? This is it. Okay, thank you very much.
And then they can leave.
And then they always leave. I mean, it's not like we're keeping them here, because that's the main reason why I went to the beginning of the agenda.
Right.
It used to be
Towards
that
the
they
end.
had appointments for us and you had to wait, so they were sitting around waiting. Now, they're the very first thing, you come in, say your piece, and then you're gone. I think it's just worthwhile. I think that that's what the community wants. I think that it's good for us to at least see them. They see us if we have a concern or a... And I don't think it's going to interfere that much with our budget hearings, the meetings coming up. Yes?
Can I just say, personally, I think it's part of their job. You're their bosses, and they should be here at this meeting.
I just think shame on them. There's one that I don't think I've ever seen here. And they're getting paid and they can't show up, it's pretty bad. And maybe, I just think it's shame on them, that week after week, month after month, we don't see them.
Well, that's what I said, we either have to enforce it
Yeah.
and say, this is part of your job, schedule, unless you're on vacation and you're sick,
Yeah?
you're here.
And then you give prior notice and you say, you know,
And if it's-
excuse me, I'm not gonna be able to be here.
If it's a seasonal program, maybe they're only there then, but swim program, have you ever seen Brenda here?
Something to
Don't have
budget.
anymore.
But you know what I mean? I mean, maybe she shouldn't be here all the time, but she
When
should
the
be
swim
giving you a
program is
head.
going on for 5 weeks, why isn't she in here if somebody has a question on how the swim program's doing?
And I can understand if there's a police call, a fire call or something, but if there's, I mean, recreation, there's no sports going on yet, I don't think. But I mean, it's just, I think it's shame on them for not showing up.
I'm just saying, I remember me personally, when I was a department head, I wanted to be here. I wanted to see the board, I wanted them to see me, and I wanted to be, I was,
Know what's going on.
yeah, I wanted to know what was going on in the community.
The board needs to know what's going on.
Yeah. So, I don't think it's you know, we gotta limit it though, I mean, we don't have to drag out. But I think if it goes smoothly, when they all show up, it's 15, 20 minutes tops. And we get to see our department heads and they get to see us.
It seems to me, the other benefit is that the department heads can hear each other, what their needs are.
that's-
And like the police might hear, oh, the road needs that, okay, fine, we can work together and do that.
And
seems,
it's
If they
a
stay so.
bonding time.
if they stay.
And I think that that's what the people are looking
I
for
think they work pretty good on it.
on the camera.
See, we discussed it, so.
Yep.
That was it, we had the
Yeah.
discussion.
And so we enforce it.
So we
Yes,
enforce it.
now we're gonna
So
enforce
I
it,
will
so if
let,
you can.
I will let
Yeah,
them
we
know.
really wanna see you, unless you're,
Unless you're ill
In the
or on
hospital.
vacation, you should be able to
And
arrange
your
your
briefing
time.
will be short, sweet, to the point,
and it's.
address the issues and,
6:20 at the moment.
yep,
It gives the people and
They can come in, they'll know that the department heads are gonna be here, so if they've got something they wanna discuss with
Exactly.
the department head in front of the board,
yep,
so that we see both sides of the conversation.
exactly.
Good. I'm here.
Alrighty, thank you.
Sometimes
Moving
I
on.
don't know they're not coming until that
So-
day, but.
Well, but the thing is.
But they're gonna be on the agenda, just like they always are.
But the thing is, they need to start planning.
Right,
No, I can't do something else that time.
right.
I've got to be at the selectmen's meeting, I'm booked.
Unless they're sick or on vacation.
Yes.
So the next one was, there was also a little discussion about meeting every week. Or at least a work session on the off meetings. That didn't come up from me.
it was me.
But-
What I mentioned, because of the budget season coming up, and it kind of combines with the budget process,
Right.
that instead of the budget committee meeting with the department head, and then the department head comes and meets with the selectmen, if we can combine that, so the department head meets with the budget committee and the selectmen at the same time.
And
So
one
everybody gets the
conversation.
information at one time. Saves them a meeting, saves everybody sort of a meeting.
Right.
So if we do those in a work session,
I mean,
And
just till
it-
the end of the year.
right,
But also, we need a table for the budget committee, so they can put their
we
500
can grab,
pound.
we'll find,
We've got tables at the townhouse.
we have one downstairs.
Because you can't sit out there with your big book and trying to flip through it.
So the thought would be that it would be one, everybody be working together on the same goal at the same time, hearing the same information. You know, they may have to come in twice, because if somebody has questions, you know, they're probably not gonna have the answers that you need at that time.
May not have what we need.
May not have what we need either, but, you know, we may have to meet with them again. But to do those in a work session.
Good.
Do you wanna do them twice, the work sessions,
If we meet 4 times a
4
month.
times a month? You wanna do the 4 times, or you wanna just do the 3? We've been doing the 3, so we've been getting, you know, a few
We've got
things
some
done,
stuff
which is
done,
nice.
which is good, but
But I think with
But
the
now
budget,
we're
we're
into
gonna
budget
need to do
season,
4.
so yeah.
we're gonna need to ramp it up.
So if it's a meeting, a work session, work session.
And then if it's the 5 weeks in the month,
And when are we
We're gonna get it off? Ooh,
When are, I was just gonna say, when are we
October.
starting this, cause October
Has
that'll
5.
be, that'll be 5
well,
meetings.
it's close to Halloween. Does Halloween come on a Thursday?
Halloween comes on Thursday
Oh,
night,
I
so we're all
couldn't
gonna
have a
dress
meeting
up and that is actually a selectmen's meeting, not a work session meeting.
Ah,
Right.
okay.
Trick or treat.
So, we haven't gotten any budgets back. I think we've gotten a couple, and then we're not
they
getting
do.
them back till next week anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
by the time we get everything put in the computer, maybe I wanna say that 4th.
Don't we have other stuff to do as well?
Right, I was gonna say that 4th Thursday of October
Halloween.
to start. No, that's the 5th.
The 24th.
The,
No, the 4th.
oh, the 4th,
for
the
work-
24th for the
right,
work
For
session.
the work session to
For
start the
budget.
budget
Of October?
of October. And if we work a good couple hours, you know,
budget
we should get a
workshop.
lot done. A lot of them don't take long.
No.
Mine's easy.
Yours is very easy.
Yeah, a one-liner.
Well, your sewer one might not be so easy, but your,
We haven't even started that one yet, so.
So can we do the work sessions 5:30?
Yeah, I don't know.
that's up to, I think that's up to.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
And I think that we limit it to 2 hours.
Yeah.
I have a question. Well,
Work session.
one of our budget committee members, I believe, is working until 6 or
Yeah, but that
works
means
until
that,
5:30.
how many are you gonna do a night?
I don't know, but just, I'm not sure if the budget committee could meet.
Oh, one of your members
Yeah,
worked,
one
and
of
said,
our-
oh,
If,
But you're gonna come up with a general consensus of questions
yes.
for each thing, but
We've compiled like half, maybe, a little under half of them. but just, I don't know if Rachel can get off work.
Can somebody let her out early?
She leaves when she wants to leave.
Okay.
5:30.
Can you
Just
decide
like
to
the
find
five
her?
thirty.
No boss.
And it'll be limited to 2 hours.
Yeah,
I try to do
Like
things they
Just let her
Like
know,
it.
and if
And we're
it's truly
only
a
working on budgets.
hardship, then
Only
maybe
doing a
we'll.
budget.
Only doing
wait.
budgets.
Yeah.
On those particular work
Yes.
sessions.
Yes, just budget.
Just budgets. Nothing else is gonna creep in.
Right, but.
There might be something that we might have to
Well,
take.
you
you
have
always-
to, but-
You always have a strange manifest that comes up that has to be
Right.
signed
Yeah.
immediately, so.
So you're saying that anything else that we want to accomplish other than budget would have to be accomplished at our regular meetings?
No, I'm
Other
saying
than-
at one of the,
Because every one of those second meetings is gonna be budget, from
Yeah.
October,
oh,
well, it doesn't have
24.
to
Get
be.
it quick.
well, it might
It
not,
doesn't have to be.
well, you just
But-
said you wanted to stay on budget, so.
No, what I was thinking was one work session would be a regular
Work session.
work
then what?
session, one would be a budget.
Oh, okay.
That
Okay,
was
so
my
one budget a
thought,
month.
but, then we can go back to see how much,
September, October, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have time.
we might not, but,
I just,
you know.
I mean, how much can you
But
get
if
in?
we're gonna, but my thought though is if we're only gonna be doing these budgets for 2 hours,
you can get a lot done.
you can get a lot
Yeah.
done, first of all.
Yeah, if they're
If that's
prepared.
the only thing you're doing.
And if you take the minimal ones first and get them out of the way, then you'll deal with the bigger ones.
Right.
Yep, okay, I just didn't wanna get us
But
jammed up,
we're
we
gonna
didn't get
start,
anything
we're
done.
gonna start doing work sessions, the second October one, then 10th, that would just be a regular work session.
So that could be anything.
That could be,
No, we
the
discussed-
job
we discussed
descriptions,
that.
whatever, whatever
social
else you
media
have,
thing.
public road
Yep,
thing.
okay.
Well, we did that, we just gotta get that.
Gotta go try to
Yep,
crown
okay.
it off and-
But-
All right, yep,
So for now, we're gonna be meeting 4 times a month.
right, sounds good to me. Not good, but sounds like what it's gonna be.
I bet that
I think in October, we're
Oh,
doing
perfect.
5 times,
No,
4, we got one
we're
on.
gonna have the 31st off.
but we're getting, the 31st is a
No, the
regular.
31st is a regular
It's
meeting.
a regular meeting.
It's a regular
That's-
selectmen's
The only one you
meeting.
can have off is the 10th.
It's the 10th.
Well, that's Columbus Day weekend.
Yeah, well, there you go, close enough. So we'll take the 10th off.
It is? Columbus Day weekend's the 14th.
Yes,
Oh,
but that's,
Oh, so the 10th, 11th, so if you take the
What,
10th
you
off.
can't cancel a regular meeting?
I was gonna say Halloween, I ain't coming.
Well, because they're gonna do budget, I mean, AP and
I
budget.
bring kids around.
Yeah, 'cause
too
it's
many
8
kids
days.
around.
No, I said I bring kids around.
Oh,
Bring them here.
No, yeah.
Do you wanna meet on,
They'll love
you
that.
wanna meet on the Wednesday,
The
Can we do
30th?
the 30th?
Well, we can change meeting days a month away, so.
The room
What else is
empty.
meeting on a Wednesday? There's no.
hey, what is that BOS all day? What is that on the calendar, you know?
Oh, it's for the assessor, is gonna be using this room,
Oh. I was trying to figure
not
out
for you
what-
guys.
Do we wanna change it? Do we wanna take it off, or do we wanna change it to the 30th?
Wednesday, is that the planning board meeting here?
I don't think it's the last.
Is it the 4th?
No, Wednesday's
It's
the 4th.
They do the 4th, yeah, the 4th week of the month.
So they would
they're
be on the
the
23rd.
I don't have a problem with the 30th.
Wanna move it to the 30th?
Yep.
Okay. Fishing season's done by then.
Huh?
I said fishing season's done by then.
So October 30th, regular meeting. At 6 o'clock. And then the other work session is when, the 10th?
No, we're taking the 10th off.
No, yeah,
Because
Oh.
it's a 5-week month.
pick one.
The 10th is off. The regular selectmen is on the 3rd. 10th we're off, selectmen regular meeting 17th, work session budget the 24th, regular selectmen's meeting the 30th.
Okay.
Got it?
So we're still only having one
Yeah,
work
Monday.
session, which means we're not gonna get anything extra
Push it
done.
back a week. 'Cause it's not on Columbus Day now, right?
No, 'cause there's
That's not
five,
this
5
week
weeks
because
in October.
Fiber Fair's early this year.
Okay,
So
that's
we're
what
taking
they
one of
did.
them off. So we're gonna have regular work, regular work.
There's 3 selectmen meetings that month and
Yeah,
one,
one-
so we're
one's
still
on the
having
30th.
4 meetings.
Right, but just 3 regular meetings and 1 work session,
Right,
Correct.
is all I'm saying.
right.
Thanks, Willie.
We good?
Good.
Do you guys like the process? Working together? I think that would be good too. I think it'll be better for everybody.
Can, I hate to be a pain, but can we keep going, like November and December to figure those out, because,
Or it's just gonna be every other one?
Well, we got
Selectmen
Thanksgiving
meeting,
in
work
there.
session,
Well,
select.
that's what I wanted to figure out, because we're also supposed to meet on Thanksgiving Day
Okay,
as a regular
so
selectmen's
31st.
meeting.
Turkey?
7th
It's
is
a
a work
holiday,
session.
we're not meeting.
7th's a work session.
14th is a
I won't be
selectmen.
here, so
Wait a
that's
minute,
good.
November, I didn't hear her.
The 7th is a work session.
Work session.
14th selectmen.
I got them on my phone too.
21st is a work session.
Budget work session.
Yep,
So the 7th and the 21st are budget work sessions?
correct.
So the
bigger
do we do
calendar.
nothing
gonna-
on the 28th?
We're gonna change that to the
Wait a minute.
27th.
Wait a minute, don't go so fast.
I'm blind as a bat.
You want mine? It's closer.
Here we go.
You're gonna,
I don't know. No, I'm fine.
So we're gonna change the 28th to the 27th? Aren't
Yes.
you guys, when does the, when do the department shut?
27th planning board,
I was gonna say,
Planning
I
board's
thought
the
it was-
20th.
and you got it on the calendar here as the 27th.
I
Yeah,
know, I
the
don't know why I
4th,
put
because
that.
it's the
I don't
4th,
either.
it's the 4th.
Is it fourth?
But I think that they
Wednesday.
changed it
Probably
because of
moved it and
Thanksgiving.
we just didn't change that.
I think they changed it because of Thanksgiving.
They did too.
If it's the 4th,
They do the 4th.
it's the 4th Wednesday of the month.
He just said they changed it
Yeah, but I think,
because of
Willie, I got it in my
Thanksgiving.
calendar as the 20th.
Yeah, that's what it
So
should
there's
be.
gotta be a and I think the reason why they changed it to the 20th be because of Thanksgiving.
Right. A lot of people travel.
Yeah,
Well, that's why I'm asking about the 28th, the 27th, because a lot of people travel because Thanksgiving's the next day.
does anybody have a problem with the 27th?
No.
Well, you're
Ooh.
probably traveling to Rhode
I was
Island.
Oh, I
Right,
have
so that's,
I guess I have a problem.
Aren't you happy I said that people do
Next
travel?
day.
I guess we'll,
Get a late start that night.
we'll skip the meeting for that month,
That day?
for that
Well,
day?
We need to
We
sign
have
it.
payroll,
pretty good
so.
deal.
But we need,
we
what
need
about
manifest
Tuesday?
signed. How about Tuesday, the 26th?
Tuesday, I'm
Are
good.
you traveling?
No. Thank you,
Sure.
Secretary.
Payroll doesn't get done till Tuesday, so just so you guys know, you'll have to come in early and, right before the meeting and look at it. Cause that's when time.
So we're gonna move the selectmen's meeting to the 26th.
Yep.
Tuesday, 26th
And what's on the
November.
Well, that's why I
21st?
wanted to keep
Did they
going,
say-
because
did
I
they
knew
say
all
work
these
session?
holidays are falling on Thursdays.
Work, yeah.
So that'll be a 6 PM, and we can keep that one short for, like, basically signing the
Yep,
manifest and
sounds
anything
like a
else
plan.
emergency. And then
And then
December.
the work session on December 5th. Selectmen's meeting the 12th. Work
December
session the 19th.
I won't be here for that one.
19th,
Selectmen's meeting on the 26th.
No, I'm
on
not.
the 25th.
The day
No,
after.
it can't be 26.
Right, that's the day after Christmas.
That's a payroll week again?
Yes.
Man, that's bad.
So, we're skipping the 19th, correct? Are we doing a
No.
work session?
No,
Work
it's a work
session.
session.
When you wanna do the selectmen's
And
meeting?
24th is gonna be Christmas Eve, so we're closed. 24th and 25th.
When's payroll gonna be done?
Well, payroll,
Day after Christmas.
We do it on Friday?
Friday's good,
We can do it.
I was
27th.
gonna say, are you gonna do it
Will that,
well, I mean, the payroll checks is still gonna be dated the 26th. Oh geez, I don't know.
I mean,
She'll have to
nobody gets
ask,
them for a
but,
week anyway,
right,
right?
right. They're not due until the next week, so.
But then you get into New Year's and
I
all
don't
of
know.
that.
I bounce.
I don't know, we have to
back and
get, we'll have to,
forth. Different.
get
Alright, you
different
guys look at
families
that,
on that
because
one.
we're gonna have to see that whole week
It's
between
like one day's
Christmas
like my
and New
family and
Year's.
his grandparents.
It
and
doesn't
that's
leave a
like-
lot of days to,
Thanksgiving will be the same. We'll get the timesheets early is what'll
Every
happen.
holiday is pretty much on a Thursday.
I say let's have a quick one the 25th.
Yeah.
And we'll
That's fine
exchange
with me.
You'll have
gifts.
it all by yourself there, Dan.
it's fine with
That one
me.
I'm picking off.
Oh, no, I won't be here the 25th. Thank you for reminding me. So,
Okay, so
Well, that's
What-
what I'm
what are we gonna
wondering,
do?
if she can
we're,
get the,
we're gonna question mark December. Let
we're
me
gonna
just-
question mark that
Get the
last
calendars
week
The
of December.
27th.
Yeah,
She's gonna let us know when Kathy is able to request the
Okay.
payroll to get it done.
all right.
It may be whoever's in town
It may
comes
be.
in and signs the
I mean, we
manifest.
work half a day on the 24th.
Right, I knew
We
that.
don't generally have that whole day off. So,
So if we just do payroll, we can come in early, have a meeting
I
early.
think
on
I
24th.
work
Yeah.
the 24th too, so I'll be around.
I would be
so
around.
let me just,
As long as we
make
have
sure.
it.
Three of
Yeah.
us.
But that'll
Just
give
make
us
sure.
3 meetings anyway,
Mhm.
one selectmen's
I
meeting
just
and 2
know
work
next-
sessions.
If we have a work session next week, I can't make that one. I can't make December 5th. I think that's all I've got planned.
Next
Okay.
week?
Next Thursday, yeah.
24th, no
we gotta-
time?
Next week we have one because it's public hearing.
We'll see.
All right, I can't go on any further.
So,
That's all I wanted.
Becky, you mentioned on the 26th of November,
Yeah.
that was Thanksgiving, you said you're gonna make it quick meeting, signed. Does that mean you don't want department heads that day?
No.
No.
That doesn't mean that?
Yes, it
No,
means no
don't
department
bring it.
heads.
Okay.
Tell them to,
And a very minimal,
Yeah.
no appointments.
And light duty.
Short meeting.
short meeting.
Okay,
Good?
all right.
All right. Moving on, signature file. Can somebody pass the signature file down?
Bucket. There's a bucket.
Security, you
File
can
you're looking
face,
at?
hydration, you can feed.
Yep, that's it.
Can I do one thing before we get into that?
Yes,
So we don't forget?
let's not forget.
The landfill needs to be mowed.
Oh, I've got that on my administrative report.
You
Too bad we couldn't bring in sheep.
Goats,
Goats.
they put them on.
Yeah, I was gonna go with that.
Okay.
Needs to be
I
mowed.
don't think I saw them.
I didn't send it
Okay.
because I didn't have time to do
All right,
it with
well,
all the
then I-
stuff going on.
Okay. All
I
right.
just figured I'd go over it.
Bring my lawnmower over there.
I just didn't want to forget it again. I forgot it last week.
Who does it?
Mark, if we can get him to do it.
Okay,
Doesn't, I'll
I
bring
make a
mine over.
motion that, we approve the minutes of the non-public session dated September 5th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
I take it this one's not sealed, right?
Yeah, it should be. shouldn't it?
No, I got the two that are sealed.
We sealed all of them.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
didn't
how
put an
come that didn't
envelope
come
with
with
it.
an
I didn't
envelope,
put an
right?
envelope with
You
it.
guys had it,
I,
last Thursday you guys had a work session, right?
Yeah.
12th, okay, yeah, I wasn't here.
this is for the 5th.
Okay, I was there for
Yes.
this one.
I abstained because
You-
I wasn't here.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for the selectmen's meeting, public meeting for September 5th.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I think he was here for that.
I was here for that. I said aye.
That's the one you left. She left.
I'll make a motion that we approve the work session minutes for Thursday, September 12th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
All right.
I said aye.
I make a motion that we approve the driveway application permit for map number 410, lot 139, off of Page Hill Road.
Second.
Sorry, I handed it, that's,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
It's just us.
I make a motion that we approve a notice of intent to cut wood at map number 415-56-000, and the access road to this is gonna be off of Depot Road. Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to approve a driveway application permit for map number 208, lot number 40, off of Whittier Road. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. How much is the date?
Okay.
Motion to approve the non-public session dated September 5th, 2019, which will be sealed.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Motion to approve the non-public session of the Selectmen's meeting dated September 5th, 2019. This is gonna be session number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
I got an
Abstain.
aye, you abstain, you weren't here.
Right.
And this has gotta be signed by Melanie, she was the secretary, I mean, not the, but you were the,
Minute taker.
minute taker. Motion to approve the selectmen's non-public session meeting number 3 dated September 5th, 2019.
Second,
All in favor? Aye.
abstain.
Same, send us down to the minute taker. Motion to approve the 2019 manifest signature form for payroll costs. Dated 9/26/19 in the amount of $28,374.30.
Second,
Do you wanna know how much cash was used to date? It's
No.
over 7 million.
Nobody wants to know that.
No.
I'm sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
2019 manifest signature forms, selectmen's approval for 9/2019. Cash used and accounts payable is gonna be $288,693.42.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I think that about does it. I don't see anything else. Did I miss anything for signature?
I don't think so.
Just Darlene stuff.
Oh yeah, you guys gotta do your updates too.
No, we're doing the updates. We haven't, yeah.
We're gonna do public comment too.
Okay, did you wanna do public comment
I don't
before
know if
selectmen's
there is
update?
any. I mean, it's up to the board, I don't,
Nice
some
one.
people wait to hear what we have to say or wanna say something.
I'm confused.
You're confused?
Oh,
Don't-
Chris, when is Kathy going away?
November.
And how long is she gonna be away?
I'm not sure exactly. 3 weeks.
And the dates that the budget committee is meeting,
I'll get all that out to you guys.
okay, cause.
Yeah, I'll definitely get that out to you guys. Yeah. And it'll come with what we're, you know, what department heads we're gonna be meeting with and things like that. That's all a process, yeah.
Was that public comment?
That was hers.
Oh.
I have a question about the letters that went to all the taxpayers that were supposed to come from the Board of Selectmen. From what I read of that, it says that the whole town's been reevaluated
That's correct.
right
That
now.
was the 2019 revaluation.
I thought it was only gonna do parts of the town.
That's
and we're gonna
for,
break it down.
that's gonna be part of the 2024 evaluation. So all they did was to go out and do
So when
the
did they
measure
do
and
this?
list. That was, this 2019 was just a sales revaluation. They didn't go out and measure and list every property for 2019.
So it'd be called a statistical.
Statistical analysis.
Analysis based on sales.
Based on market increase.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is up a lot.
I like your terminology.
Yeah,
Sales.
Yeah,
which
I
is what the
understand
board
it
had
is.
approved to do for 2019. And then for the
Call it
next
what,
5
field
years,
walk
they're
or
gonna do a
something like
portion
that?
of the town
They
where
call it like
their
a field
assessor's gonna
walk
go
or
out to
something
every
like
property
that.
and measure and list every single property in town. 20% at a time, so when the 5 years are over,
Well, I understood that part, but I just, when I read the letter, I was like, it sounded like the whole town had been reevaluated, which I thought only a portion of it was gonna be done.
well, it's still called being reevaluation, it's just a different type of reevaluation.
I remember when they said that it was just a section.
That's
It
how
was-
I understood it.
And it was only, that was not going to be implemented for another 4 years or
And
something.
it's not,
Right.
it's not. All
This
he's
is just
doing
a
is,
market
right,
reevaluation.
right, that 20% is not in the computers unless there's unless there was a blatant error.
This was actually discussed, again, I had to go back myself because I couldn't remember when we discussed it. It was discussed November 8th, 2018 for the January 2019 to December 2019 is how it was written. So I had to go back and research it myself because I honest to God did not remember this coming up. And it was in my stuff, it was November 8th, 2018, that we had discussed what we knew as a statistical evaluation, which means based on market changes.
Now, this couldn't just have gone in the envelope with our bills in July and, so that we didn't have to,
Because anybody now has an opportunity to come in and
Challenge.
challenge that query, get it set right before we
And I
accept
was
as
gonna
a
say,
board
you
of
don't-
selectmen.
right, they have to accept those values.
Those values, because that will determine what the tax rate will be when we set the tax rate based against what the townspeople spend.
It actually saves you a little bit of time, effort, and money, because if we waited until the tax bills went out and then had this letter go out, then everybody would have to file an abatement form, and that is a nightmare where you'd have to go through.
well, I just thought like in the last bill, if the letter went in there, we saved a lot
It
of
wasn't done by
envelopes.
then, that's the problem.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Can't put anything
You can't
on the
do
tax
that.
bill.
No.
Anything else?
About all that. So when do we, is there gonna be another assessment before we are billed with what that said?
No,
No.
That's it?
that's it.
And when did we pay the money for what that said?
When the tax bills goes out.
This is
No, it's
so
December.
whatever that said,
But they don't know the rates.
No, you don't know the rate, that's just your value.
Right.
the value.
Right, you're gonna be
The
paying
rate
on
could
that
change
value,
still.
correct.
But based on that value, that's gonna impact whatever we are supposed to pay next year?
That's correct.
Depending
rate-
on what
the rate may go
the
down.
rate said.
Yeah,
It may.
people are gonna pay about the same
Wishful
amount,
thinking.
unless you had some
It seems to,
explosion
it
of
seemed to
development.
change the value of the land much more, the land itself, without a letter. So the house was, not but the land was
Increase in
changed.
value.
But, you know, I just
On
wanted,
sales.
Yep.
That's
Depending
all.
on, yeah.
I didn't know if there's gonna be another assessment, the fifth part. So if we got a letter, we're done.
Everybody got a letter.
Oh,
Everybody knows.
The
Yeah,
whole
everyone.
town was reevaluated
Oh,
in a statistical
Tax parcels.
revaluation. Yeah.
But there will be another, the assessor will go out within the next 5 years.
Right.
To every single property, and then you'll get the same letter again in 5 years.
It's 2 assessments.
So whatever rate was on that is what we're gonna be taxed at.
No,
No.
whatever the
The
value
value is,
Value.
right.
is,
But-
which will be taxed at. And
No, if you have questions, certainly come in and see the assessor.
Yeah, something's wrong on it, you
You
find
don't
something
think
that's
something's
wrong on it.
right, you
Now's
think
the
it's
time to
too
come in.
high, you have reasons for that?
You can control the value.
Right,
You can question the value, you can't question the rate.
right.
And the value of the town helps set the rate, the tax rate, so it all plays sort of together.
And with the initial blush on this, we're up about 40 million.
40 million.
So you go up 40 million, that obviously is gonna lower your tax rate. You're still going to wind up paying about the same amount.
Right, right.
All works out.
No.
Anything else?
Definitely.
Alrighty, moving on here. Becky, Selectmen's update.
It's been a busy couple of weeks.
You gotta tell me about it.
Walk slow.
We had the ambulance meeting on Monday, like I said. We're going back this following Monday to hopefully listen to presentations and then develop the 2 companies, possibly 3, that they want to bring back to divulge deeper in. I went to a broadband meeting on Wednesday morning down in Wakefield. It was very productive. I think we've got 24 out of 27 people participating now. There was a set of governing rules adopted at present time. There was discussion about whether it should just be towns or whether it should be everybody, and it's sort of going to be everybody right now because there's no financial, this is just exploration and research. There's no
Everybody meaning like counties and things like that.
county, LRCP has a vote at the table,
Oh,
you know,
oh,
all
I
the,
see. Okay.
so, and more on coming on that. Then I came home and listened to a 2-hour broadband webinar put on by the Broadcast USA NITA, and it is amazing the amount of work they've done on rural areas. The presentation will be available in a week with slides and stuff. I've already contacted Jim and Steve and Rick and said I will send that up for dissemination, but there were a couple of interesting points. They are talking about how rural communities really need to look to become inclusive, not exclusive.
And-
Meaning you need to adoption of broadband is more than just placement of broadband. Adoption of broadband has, you've gotta agree to digital equipment, and the one thing that they had mentioned in this is the fact that rural communities that stay exclusive within 3 to 5 years will have their revenue sources drop right off. Because it is going to the technical end of things. Companies are allowing people to work from homes, they don't have to physically go in, and they're finding in the rural communities that remain exclusive and don't adopt the 5 components of a broadband, which is not just hardwire, it's devices, training, availability, the whole 9 yards. So it's an interesting concept, but they actually have done studies to see how it has impacted economic growth in rural areas, so. They say push your elected leaders, and it's not just us, the people at the table at this group, it's going to be pushing other elected leaders as well. Then I had a sewer commission meeting after that. And I think that the sewer commission came up with, well, we know we came up with numbers that are going to be submitted to the state next week. It was a very productive meeting, I thought, and we had some users there and stuff, so hopefully that's it. And then that's it for me.
Thank you.
That's enough.
Aaron,
I didn't make the TCC meeting, but I read through all the draft minutes and didn't seem like a whole lot. But I guess Pine Tree Power is going to start trucking their water back out the way they were doing it, which is good. And the other thing, kind of on a business note, the revenue that we do make somewhat on the metal at the transfer station, that is going to be like pretty much very, very minimal, because the steel markets are horrible and they're just going to get worse. And maybe after the election we might start seeing decent money again, but don't expect a lot out of that.
Oh, we don't have to pay to get rid of it.
No, there will always be something there, but instead
something's better than nothing.
of a steel load paying $600-700, it's going to be $200-300-400 now. It literally dropped $40 a ton overnight on me. So, but that's all I got. Yeah.
Will?
The first Monday of October, there'll be a municipal building committee meeting. I did attend the ambulance contract with Becky. I just wanted to note in that they are to speak only to their only to their proposal and nothing outside of their proposal when they speak, so it should be pretty dry. And then I also went out of curiosity to the sewer committee meeting. Commissioners meeting. Let's hope it keeps flowing. I think that's all I've done on it.
Mel?
I met with Mary Cronin at the townhouse, again, when they moved in, helped them set things up, for the different things that are at the townhouse with the library there and stuff, and they're working great with other people. I did speak with him, I don't remember his name, and I'm gonna call him the Jeep guy.
Oh, yeah, did he call you?
And what?
Eric Burbank?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he said that.
And there's money coming.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. I've known him for a very long time. It's so weird when he showed up here.
Yeah.
So good, because I reached out to him and he said those checks were supposed to have gone out in July, so he was surprised.
No, well,
If he says it's
But
coming,
he didn't say he was in particular. He said a group of
them,
checks.
right? And
he
that's
was
what
supposed
he
to get
said.
back to
And
me.
he was gonna look and see what it was, but he said they were coming.
Maybe I should open that envelope I got from Jeep in the mail today.
Go get it.
I will. I somehow don't think that's what it was.
No,
Maybe
no,
give
it
us
will
a
come
free
here
Jeep.
to Darlene.
Yeah, well, they were talking that way on the cover, but I don't think that was reality.
No, that's it.
Before I get Darlene, the only one I had quick was a Veterans Committee meeting. and we're starting to plan for the Veterans Day ceremony. And going along with that, we have submitted a request to go to the state that we can get some military equipment to come down here. If I don't hear back from them, I'm gonna have to reach out to, Ed, you know anybody? At the high levels that would assist us in getting some military support, National Guard support?
Just for that day?
Are you speaking to me?
Yeah, as a delegate, as I'm sure Jeb would know somebody.
Well, explore your options and
Yeah.
then talk to me then.
Because we would like to have somebody from the National Guard unit show up, hands-on equipment as a
nice.
static display with some military equipment on Veterans Day. I think it'd be a good showing for the New Hampshire National Guard. And
Now I get. So you're looking for somebody to showcase the National Guard with some equipment,
Correct.
so people can,
yeah,
like
so
touch
they
a
can
truck
say,
or
ooh,
just,
yeah,
see
isn't that impressive? And
a little recruitment table.
yeah, I mean, I sent the application in, but I haven't heard anything back yet. So sometimes I know how it works, that they need to be nodded and say, this would be a good thing if you supported the town of Tamworth with some.
Well, I'll be down in Concord next week. I can find out.
Thank you.
And the other thing, the question came up, did we ever get that money back from the old Veterans Committee that was supposed to be taken out of the bank by, remember that discussion that we
Oh,
had?
that was the weird
Yeah.
checkbook
Yeah,
and,
no. I've never gotten anything.
We were
who
supposed
had
to,
the checkbook?
Richard Coker,
But I mean, was it,
Oh,
the money's in the bank,
yeah.
They must be sending out a statement to somebody.
somebody's getting something.
Somebody's getting a statement.
But it says to the Veterans Committee, but we don't have any, and we don't want the money. So the money,
Just
we
wanna know
already
where it is.
decided that we were gonna take the money out of the account and put it into the general fund.
I'll,
And I think Richard was
I will check
on
with him.
I believe that, yeah, he's on vacation.
yeah, so if you
Yeah.
can remember to follow up with Richard, see if we can get that money into general.
And one other thing that, while we're on past stuff that hasn't happened,
Then Amy.
David A.
Bridge.
Bowles Bridge.
I know, I was just
Yes.
gonna bring that up. Do we know
That
if
seems
they're
to
gonna
just-
reschedule?
Well, they had one scheduled that they had to change.
Right.
That was
Well, the
back
governor
a
wanted to
couple
come up and
months.
sign some papers in front of the bridge or something to be
Right.
exciting. I
that
wanna get
was-
the signs up, I'm not so sure, at this point, I'm happy about the governor coming up and signing anything, because he signed some things I didn't like.
I will, Jim Bowles was in on a lot of that, so let me reach out to him. and
I mean,
see
I
where
just,
we're
I
at.
would like to see that,
Before we.
Follow
Because
through and
because it's
get
been
done.
approved, it just needs to be
Right.
signed.
well, I think it just needs to be, the signs put up. And-
I thought he was gonna do an official signature.
Oh, I don't know.
Bless you.
I
I
don't know
think
what he
so.
was, I thought he was signing something else.
And the only other thing with Veterans Day is that we're going to, as you know, that the ceremony is up at the corner, and then afterwards they have like a get-together gathering
The tea at the
with,
library.
well, yeah, but the library has requested that we do it at the townhouse, it would be better. So Mary is actually going to submit a thing to the Friends of the Townhouse to use it on Veterans Day. For- So you should see that come. Darlene?
So, a couple weeks ago, we did receive a donation for $120, an anonymous donation for EDC. Does the board wish to vote to accept that?
I make a motion that we accept that money on behalf of the EDC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Was it specific for anything?
Nope.
I thought it said.
Oh, the helium.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
yeah.
I was gonna
Sorry
say.
about that. That was my bad. Greg's Way and Main Street and 28 Main Street, the lights should be on. So I only have one left that's supposed to be out, and I don't remember which one that is.
Well, that would have to be the one on 25.
Okay.
But you can add another one to it. I believe the one on the end of Tall Pines Road is out.
And I was gonna ask a question, and this comes with Willie, but you know how we went around and shut a lot of streetlights off?
Yeah.
What do we have to do to get one turned back on in an area that could use some extra lighting?
guess the board would make a decision to have them put a street light in.
All right, well, I'm gonna check to make sure the light's still on the pole, but
Is there a light on the pole?
there used to be. I don't know if it's still there. It's been many years ago now
Okay.
since we shut it off,
Shut it
so.
off. Would that be at the end of Derby Street?
No, it'd
I
be at
mean,
the end of Sunnyside.
Sunnyside,
Yeah.
sorry, Matt. I just-
No, I could use it there.
Yep, might
Let me
help.
know and I can just make a phone call.
All right, I'll see if the light is still hanging on the pole.
Will I be able to?
don't believe it is.
Okay.
I don't believe it is,
I don't
because
think it is. I think.
I don't think so. So,
All right.
So, will I know from that chart that you gave me which is gonna be tall pines? Do you know?
I'll send to the poll.
Okay.
I don't, I mean, it should say tall pines
I'll look
in
that up,
113, but.
Okay.
I don't remember
So
the-
I've gotten a number of mission statements.
Good.
A handful, anyway. Can I just leave them in the office, or do you want me to scan them and send them all to you? Okay,
That's good.
so they'll be in the office.
Nonprofit.
Nonprofits?
Oh, no. Just
Okay.
let us read them.
Okay.
I'm in the read file.
That's fine. And I just wanted to thank Willie and Chief Colcourt and your son for coming to help us move. The floor looks great.
Yeah, you heard him. He has
I
to go to
think-
physical therapy now.
I think he was hurt before he got here.
But make it feel guilty.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel guilty because I was supposed to be to help you, but we got tied up. I didn't get back in town.
It'll all get done. Well, you can come back and move the desks back to the wall. How's that?
Okay.
You're off the hook, Willie. The computer upgrade did not go quite as smoothly as the rest of our projects did this weekend. So, a lot of the software isn't working properly. So, like, I don't have your expense reports yet. We can't print those for some reason. There's little certain nuances that aren't working quite right. As we talked about the revale letters, we did them Friday afternoon and all day Saturday. They were mailed on Monday. We've been answering phone calls nonstop for 2 days, so he'll be busy with hearings, which is great. We have 3 scheduled. I wouldn't be surprised if we have to add another day or 2.
I didn't do anything. I noticed that there wasn't any times where a working person could make it.
They can call. He can do it by phone.
If they're
And if he
working.
would like,
They can't make
Call.
those
okay,
calls
so
during
then
even
I
those
can I
hours.
can ask him to give me some night hours.
He needs to do either a Saturday or night hours or
Okay.
something, so that somebody can get in here that can't make daytime.
But again, the option is that they certainly could call as well if they, if they had a chance to. But I certainly will ask them for a Saturday or
Right,
night.
Saturday or evenings or something,
Evening,
just
okay,
other than
yep.
just regular business times. for-
Okay. Does the board wish for me to contact Mark Streeter to mow the old landfill?
Please.
I knew that was gonna be a yes.
Why you said that? Who has the key to that?
Richard does, doesn't he?
We have one.
Oh, you do have a key. Okay.
I did send out letters to for diesel prices again. The price at Troop E is $2.33,
You're not gonna beat that.
which is, I think it's really convenience for, the highway to not have to go get it, which he's doing and he's, fine with that, but, hopefully we'll get a couple more prices to see what
What was
happens.
I don't remember what the price was from.
It was market value plus 0.27
Right.
on top of it, so if we
It would've-
followed what happened on Tuesday, our market value could be, $6 by the end of the year.
Right. So we'll see what they come back with.
So I guess the question is, do we have to enter into a long-term thing, or could we call them up and say, we'd like what's your price on diesel today? It's $2.40, okay, send us
500 gallons.
700 gallons.
It was $3.25 at one place today.
But
I mean, I have no problem with him doing that,
I mean,
getting a
if-
short
if-
supply so
I
he
mean,
doesn't
we
have to
don't
keep
have
running
to
out
have
the Troop E.
A contract.
A contract with them,
Right.
do we?
I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
so, we can call and get diesel,
know.
so he's not running out the Troop E.
I mean,
He doesn't mind doing the trucks. He said that's not a big deal. They're
it's
out
the
and about.
loaders
But
and
it's
things
the
like
loaders
that,
and all
stuff
that
like
this
that.
stuff,
Right.
which I understand.
There's a
but I-
tank there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
I was gonna
just-
say, I got one if they did
We
it.
can't fill up a Troop E and take it back to the station.
Right. So we can see what you come back with, and then
Well, see
You know,
what
we'll
he,
reach out to some
see,
company.
see what he would need if we had a delivery. If we, like Willie said, if we call up somebody and say, how much does he really sort of need to get going? Cause
well,
I'm
the
sure he's
problem is
looking
in
at
the
winter heading.
in the
and-
winter he has a delivery 2 and 3 times a week.
No, I know, but to get us fueled up and going too, we get those.
Oh.
Well, and I mean, I'm also thinking, you know, the other trucks that are out and about more can go to Troop E, but it's the loader and stuff, so that you have
They
fuel
should be-
there for the loaders.
Well, that's
They
what I
should be
mean,
running
how,
off-road
how much,
anyway.
how much,
Yeah.
What did you say?
They should be running off-road anyway in the loaders. Off-road diesel, it's way cheaper because it has no tax, no road tax.
but what I'm saying is if Richard can work up what it might cost him from now, what he might think he needs from now to December, we could call a company if we had to and say, bring up that many gallons for, at least to get him through to December.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of a way to
I know,
help
save.
make it so that he doesn't have to drive down there with every piece of equipment to get fuel.
Well, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, if
Run
he
the
can come up.
trucks, run the trucks through Troop B, get 500, 700 gallons off-road delivered to the.
Right. Well, that's what we're trying to do is get a
Oh,
price.
I'll shoot you over some places tomorrow.
I sent out 6 letters already.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
what I'm
the last
saying-
time I did that is I only got one response from
That's-
Irving.
But that's what I'm saying, if Richard can give us what he thinks he might need, at least to get to December on diesel for his loader and stuff, then we can see what the price would be to have a delivery brought in.
Public comments over.
Can I ask a question? Do they have 2 tanks, one for off-road and one for on-road?
No, I think there's just one tank there.
They should have 2 because, I mean, when you have equipment,
Probably
you don't
call
wanna
it
pay
cheaper.
that highway tax when it's off-road. It's a huge amount of difference. in the money.
Bring up it by reason.
They do.
I thought government vehicles all was,
I think I got it.
isn't government vehicles all
Off-road.
off-road?
No.
I don't believe
No.
so.
You don't think, I thought it was.
But anyway, we can get that
Yeah,
information
yeah.
from
Okay, we'll work with
Richard
them.
and then
Yeah,
see where we
yeah, I
go.
mean,
No?
maybe a company we can call up and say, you know, what's your price of diesel today? I need 250 gallons.
What are you
or
gonna give
whatever
me
it
for a discount, cause I'm gonna buy 700 gallons or 1,000 gallons at a thing? Yeah,
is. I don't know how big the tank is up there.
It's 500, I
500.
think.
yeah.
And they only use about 9,000 a year.
Well, I know, but you're talking a
Right.
500 tank, that's a lot
No,
of
I know, it's a
fills.
lot, and you know, that's part of the problem, is that are they gonna come out here
500.
willy-nilly
I think I
for,
got it.
500
No, I
gallons?
know I do.
Yeah.
I got
Well,
a
at least
brand new
to start
500
and
gallon
then-
tank
yeah.
that I'm doing nothing with. If they needed another one due to 1,000
Drop.
drop, I have no problem. Just it's sitting there
Well,
doing
might be-
nothing.
Might be a smart idea to
Well,
invest in
it
one
off-
tank.
But it'd also be good to know if he's got a tank that's off-road or if it's all on-road diesel. So I guess we
it's
can
all
bring
on-road.
that up next week.
I got
That
a feeling
one?
it is. 'Cause
Really?
Yeah,
On
it-
road.
it's all on road. Because I mean, he's putting the loader, the grader goes on the roads, you know, I mean, it's all on the road.
Melody did send me over the social media policy. I will get that out to you, but I wanted to go through ours, and, because I know you wanted to look at the ones we had already for the communication, cell phone, things like that. So once I pull all that together, I'll send that along for you to look at. I think that's all I had.
Anybody else got anything?
And you're gonna come back with the goals. We haven't talked about the goals yet. Okay.
Been too busy.
I know, me too.
Me three.
Yeah.
We've been chipping them off. We have been checking them off.
Next work session, we're doing department head job descriptions, is that correct?
Yes. That's the 26th.
Yes.
So we have the public hearing
Public
at 6
hearing.
o'clock, which will be, I'm sure, hopefully very quick. I have heard from, I would say 5 or 6 nonprofits that will be coming
On the
on the
26th for the
26th
pilots?
for the pilots.
Okay, what time is the public hearing?
6.
That's why I said, we're just gonna do job descriptions on the 26th, because we have pilots coming, we have the public
So,
hearing.
Yeah, that'll be,
we got the work
That'll be
session
fine.
starting at
At 6, we're gonna start at 6 with the public hearing and and then you're gonna meet with the
6:15 and non-publics or whatever.
Yeah.
That
Nonprofit.
nonprofits. Yeah, whenever you've done the public hearing, we can go right into that.
And then we'll do the
and then we'll do the job
job
descriptions.
descriptions and call it
You
a
know,
night.
unless you talk to these people for hours, I mean, depends who shows up and,
we can convince them, if it takes an hour to convince them to give us money, then we'll be less than the hour. Doesn't sound like a lot of them want us.
no. And then we'll work on job descriptions after that.
Can there be a non-public on the 26th?
Prior or after?
Wanna come in earlier? Can we come in at 5:30, do it on public?
Sure.
Don't look at me, I ain't gonna be.
You're not gonna be the whole meeting. Okay, so how about set 5:30
Okay.
for the non-public?
So I can post it. Employee.
Yeah, personnel.
That's next week, which will be
26.
26.
Anything else? Somebody talk to me.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Oh, you beat me to it. He's on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.